Hello, my name is Audrey Luce, and I'm one of the producers of Team Alpha for the game Out There. Today we are going over the gameplay of our vertical slice. Starting off is what the player sees when they immediately launch the game, which is character art for the soon-to-be-known main character, Shelly Faye. Our main menu has multiple buttons starting with controls that'll have both the controller and keyboard mouse controls. We also have an options that right now just affects the music and SFX volume, and then of course the credits that credit everybody here working on this game for Team Alpha. And start. We forced this loading screen because we're gonna have some audio here to really give the illusion that you're Shelly Faye traveling. Hello, this is the voice of Shelly Faye, independent journalist on my way to Everett Valley to interview one Jacob Carter, noted radio DJ and a conspiracy theorist. I'm sure it'll be very interesting. Okay, not really. I don't know if this is gonna be some guy ranting and raving about little green men, or if he smoked so much he'll slur right through the interview. Still, the editor needs something for a human interest story, and Jacob is really popular in some circles, so I'm hoping it will at least be interesting. What I'm also hoping for is that I can get to the motel before dark, and find a gas station too. Took a detour to take some pics, and now my fuel is running low, and I've still got like an hour left of driving to do. It should be fine though. It's not like there's a lot going on around here. This is Shelly Faye, signing off for now. That's where the valley is. Did something happen? Of course, that is the introduction of our game, starting with some narration. Our game is very narrative based, and you are here as Shelly Faye at the gas station, rocket fuel. The player knows what items are interactable because we have an outline on them, and also some items, if you click on it, provide placeholder text that lets the player know what they should be doing or gives them hints. To enter the camera, you press C, and there's an overlay that lets the player know that something needs to be taken a picture of, and that appears in your journal that you can press J to access. Once our levels are fully assetted, we're going to implement having what the player actually takes a photo of inside the journal, and also the placeholder text in the journal is going to be replaced with our actual writing. The text at the bottom of the screen is also supposed to be placeholder because we want to replace it with voice lines of Shelly speaking her thoughts and helping the player along. Sorry if the intro was a little confusing because I am currently the narrator of this video, but I'm also going to be the voice of Shelly Faye in the game. So here we are, we got to the gas station, we turned on the button to turn on the gas, and then we heard an explosion, so we found the garage key, and now we're gonna go explore the garage. If you don't quite know what you're doing, always look at the journal to know what you're supposed to do next. This is one of our mini games in the game. It is the recorder mini game. So every time we come across a recorder, you press 1 to bring out the device for the mouse keyboard, and then you click on it and play this mini game to be able to listen to it.
I'm escaping to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space!
So you may be wondering what that has to do with the game. Nothing. Right now we have placeholder voice lines for all of our tapes that will eventually be replaced with story. In the journal, there's also the option to replay tapes if you missed it or want to hear it later. So let's go back outside. We think we got pictures of everything. Let's get some gas and get on our way. As you saw in the journal, we need to meet Jacob at Neptune Inn. And here we are. We have reached our destination. We rode on our motorcycle. We're now at Neptune Inn. And it says I need to get my key card to get let into my room. Once inside, again, there is a ding that says that you need to take a picture of something, and in this case, it is the guest book that lets Shelly know who and where people are staying in the motel. And there it is in the journal. My room is 1B1. Let's pick up the room key, and let's pick up this office key. You can only unlock the door after you pick up the keys, and in the back there's another picture of assets that we don't quite have. So while the first two levels are mostly assetted, we still have more assets that we would like to make and implement into our game, including small assets to make it more lifelike and realistic. Here we are at our room, 1B1, and when we try to enter, something's not quite right. The device is acting weirdly to the door, and you can press 2 on your keyboard in order to open our second minigame called the Decipher minigame. So some doors you cannot open, and you can use the device to unlock it. You have to match the bottom symbols to the top symbols that are always randomly generated, and you're at a timer, and you have to get it correct to open it. You can always try again if you get it wrong, or if you run out of time. Along with wanting to make more assets, we are also planning on retexturing a lot of our assets and making color palettes and making sure everything seems to fit in the same space. So we just found a camera in our vent, so clearly someone is watching us, and that is creepy. Throughout our game, it is very narrative based, and we want to have a lot of details to really make sure that the experience is immersive and rich. Now we're heading on upstairs to our second location, which is John's room, as it said in the guest book. 1C2. Again, the door is locked, so we must use our handy dandy device, press 2 on the keyboard, and decipher it. So here I don't make it in time, and that is indicated with the little red X that appears on the door when you get it wrong, and when it is ready to be entered again, the green exclamation point appears. This time I got it. On the wall here are to be a lot of photos, specifically of Jacob and around the valley, because we find out that John is a detective tailing Jacob, and that obviously piques our interest because we are a journalist. There are 11 tapes throughout the entire game, so there are 11 minigames that you have to play in order to listen to the recordings, and each one increases in difficulty. This tape is to explain John's motives for following Jacob, and at this point the story is really supposed to be launching. Why are people following Jacob? Why does the government want Jacob? Who am I about to go talk to? All of those feelings, hopefully. Here is another interactable room. It is the Ankelbergs. It is a family. Inside is, you can see, it is super messy. There are just takeout boxes everywhere, noodles, and some suitcases. And of course, where is everyone? There is no one here. There's no one in the gas station, so if we haven't found anybody in the motel, where is anybody? Coming up onto our last room is Jacob's room, and this is the room where we were supposed to meet Jacob. Again, locked. Gotta unlock it with our Decipher game, and there's ample enough time to finish this one. Just like the other mini game, as time goes on, the time will be decreased, making the game harder. So I found a radio key here, and I see another cassette tape, so I'm gonna pull out my device, I'm gonna play our minigame, and we're gonna see what this one is to tell us. Jacob is clearly not in the room. Hopefully this tape will give us some sort of information. Just in case it needs to be said, to control the cube in this minigame, you use WASD on the keyboard, and then for the controller you use the analog stick. Now is when Shelly is definitely getting more exasperated. She just said she needs to find Jacob. Where is he? He is not here where we planned. There's strange things going on. I'm going to go see if he is at home at his radio station. So let's get on our bike and go. So like I mentioned before, only our first 2 levels are currently assetted, and we have the assets for some assets for the remaining levels of our game, but we didn't want to implement all of them because we wanted to make sure that our game was, 1, going to work, 2, up to our level of expectation and quality, and 3, we didn't have every single asset that we wanted to create the whole story like we could do successfully in the gas station and motel. While we're listening to that tape, let's try and explore, and the doors are locked because the power is out. So we can go in here and we can turn on the power with the switch, the fuse box, and now the power is on. However, the doors are locked. So again, we pull out our handy dandy device and decipher it. Now inside, these are some back offices where we find a bunch more tapes. We get more into the story. We have a lot of these tapes already written. We just don't have them recorded quite yet. That is going to be one of our focuses for next semester. And I don't really want to tell you what they say because I want there to be some sort of surprise and anticipation for this narration and storyline of out there. I don't know if I've messed up in any of these mini games yet, but basically if the cube touches the darker orange outer line, it'll make like a bzzz noise and you have to start over. Of course, you always have the choice to not listen to some of these tapes, but to get the whole picture and the whole story, you should try and find and listen to every tape after completing their mini games.
Escaping to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism.
Space. Let's see if there's anything more interesting inside this door. This is the hardest door by far, only starting at very few seconds, and as you're about to watch, I am going to fail it for the first time. So let's try that again. Okay, I didn't get it the second time either. But you know what they always say, the third time's the charm, right? Right, I made it. So inside is going to be Jacob's office. We get to take a picture of all of his, as Shelley in the intro said, rants and ravings about the little green men, all of his findings, and she wonders if Jacob is getting close to some sort of truth in his conspiracies. After a little bit more explanation, the device freaks out again on a bookcase, and Shelley uses the device again to get into it. It seems to be some sort of hidden door. We've successfully gotten into his hidden bookcase, not very hidden with the help of an alien device telling us it's there. And in the basement, we see a cube. The cube is actually going to be the one we're in front of right now, is a memorial for, we find out, Jacob's wife and his motivation behind his conspiracies and meeting with Shelley. And to the corner, we eventually see that it is a UFO. It is a half ripped apart UFO that in the next recording, Jacob admits to founding the device that Shelley is currently using inside. This, of course, means that the car in the garage of the gas station might have been Jacob's, or something happened to Jacob's, or someone stole something from Jacob.
I'm escaping to one place that hasn't been corrupted by
Let's take a picture of that cube real quick. Again, in our journal, it always says that a half a UFO. How did it even get in there? Of course, as a developer, I have the bliss of knowing exactly where this little cube needs to go in order to pass, but as a player, you'd probably have to try every single route before finding the correct one.
I'm escaping to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space!
At this point, Shelley will be expressing confusion and wondering what exactly is happening. She just saw a UFO, and the government is apparently looking for the person she's also looking for, and we're hoping the player also shares these emotions through our narration and assets. And that is where our vertical slice video will end. We do have a white box for our last level in our vertical slice build, however, so if you're curious to see how Out There ends, we have the link to our full unnarrated gameplay below. We also have our vertical slice on itch. If you'd like to play, go to spamcargo.itch.io/out-there, and I hope you enjoy. Alpha Team has a lot of big plans for the rest of our development, and we're excited for Out There to come to life.